By the year 2300, humanity had solved the riddle of the material universe. We had cracked the atom. We had mapped the genome. We had turned the solar system into a factory of unlimited resources. There were no more mysteries, no more gods, just physics, engineering, and the cold, hard math of survival. We built ships the size of cities. We harvested antimatter from the radiation belts of Saturn. We became the masters of our domain. But in our conquest of the stars, we lost something. We lost the wonder. We lost the belief in the impossible. We stopped looking for dragons because our sensors told us they didn't exist. We stopped fearing the dark because we had floodlights that could illuminate a moon. We were powerful. We were bored. And as history tells us, boredom is dangerous. We wish for something new, something to challenge us, something magical. Be careful what you wish for. Because on a Tuesday morning near the orbit of Jupiter, the universe decided to answer our wish. A hole opened in the fabric of space. Not a wormhole, not a warp gate. A literal rip in reality, bleeding golden light and singing with song that defied the laws of acoustics in a vacuum. From that light came an armada, not of steel and titanium, but of wood, gold, and arrogance. They came to conquer the primitive mortals who lacked magic. They didn't know that mortals had invented something far worse than a fireball. We had invented the kinetic bombardment. This is the story of the day high fantasy tried to invade hard science fiction. Welcome to Apex Sci-Fi. If you believe that E equals MC squared is the ultimate spell, smash that like button. Subscribe to join the United Soul Navy. Shields up. Weapons free. Chapter 1. The Golden Fleet. High Admiral Lord Ethelgard stood on the prow of his flagship, the Sunpiercer. It was a magnificent vessel, crafted from the heartwood of the world tree, reinforced with enchantments that had lasted 10,000 years. Its sails caught the magical currents of the ether. Ethelgard breathed in the air bubble generated by the ship's wards. He looked out at the strange new realm they had breached. "It is ugly," Ethelgard sneered, smoothing his silk robes. In front of him, looming against the backdrop of a massive, angry red storm, was a metal monstrosity. It was a human mining station. To the elf, it looked like a tumor, gray, blocky, covered in soot and blinking red lights. No elegance, no soul, no magic. "Scan a report, Scryer," Ethelgard commanded. His chief wizard, Malion, held a crystal orb. The orb swirled with mist. "My lord," Malion said, confused, "I sense nothing. This realm is dead to the ether. There is no mana here. The inhabitants, these creatures in the metal hive, they have zero magical aptitude. Their souls are dim. They are barely sentient." Ethelgard laughed, a rich, melodic sound. "Primitive tech barbarians," he declared. "They rely on cold iron and fire. Look at their structure. It has no wards. No shields of light. A single thunderbolt spell could shatter it. The Ilari Empire had conquered 1,000 worlds. They had enslaved races of orcs, dwarves, and beastmen. They were used to fighting armies with swords and rudimentary cannons. They saw the human station, Hephaestus Prime, not as a fortress, but as a barn. Said the herald. Ethelgard ordered, "Tell them to surrender their world to the eternal throne, and perhaps we will allow them to serve as cattle." A small golden skiff detached from the fleet. It flew toward the station, propelled by telekinesis. Inside Hephaestus Prime, Commander Sarah Vance was drinking lukewarm coffee and looking at a sensor screen that was screaming impossible data. "Commander," the tactical officer said, "the unidentified wooden objects are hailing us, but not on radio. They are projecting a voice directly into the station's hull, vibrating the metal plates." "Audio on," Vance ordered. A booming, haughty voice echoed through the bridge. "Creatures of the Iron Hive, kneel before the Ilari. Your lack of magic disgusts us, but your labor may be useful. Lower your primitive defenses, or be purged by the holy fire." Vance looked at the screen. She looked at the wooden ships floating in hard vacuum. She looked at her coffee. Did the space elves just threaten a Class A fortress station?" she asked. "I believe so, ma'am." Vance sighed. "I hate Tuesdays. Send a standard greeting. Tell them they're violating United Sol territory and to stand down. Chapter 2, The First Spell. The warning was ignored. Of course it was. To the Ilari, a warning from a non-magical being was like a sheep bleating at a wolf. They defy us. Ethelgard raised an eyebrow. Show them the power of the arcane. Fire a level 3 fireball barrage. On the decks of the wooden ships, hundreds of battle mages raised their staffs. They chanted in unison, weaving complex runes of power. In a fantasy world, this display would be terrifying. The sky would darken, thunder would roll, and morale would break. In the vacuum of space, it just looked like a light show. Balls of mystical fire, burning without oxygen, streaked across the void. They moved at the speed of a thrown arrow, maybe 100 meters per second. Commander Vance watched the projectiles on the tactical plot. Projectiles incoming, Tactical reported. Speed very slow. Trajectory linear. No guidance systems detected. Are they missiles? Vance asked. Spectroscopy says they are. Plasma? No. It's just energized gas held together by an unknown field. The fireballs took a full minute to cross the distance. The humans didn't even fire their point defense lasers. They didn't need to. The fireballs impacted the station's navigational deflector shields, a field designed to stop micrometeoroids traveling at 20,000 miles per hour. Piff, piff, piff. The fireballs splashed harmlessly against the invisible energy barrier. They dissipated instantly. The station didn't even shake. Ethelgard watched in horror. Impossible, he whispered. They blocked the sacred flame? Without a counterspell? What sorcery is this? Maybe they have a high-level warlock hidden in the metal box? Malion suggested, sweating, double the intensity. Ethelgard screamed, summon the lightning elementals. The mages summoned lightning. Great arcs of electricity shot towards the station. This time, the station's sensors did react. Commander, we are detecting a mild static charge building up on the outer hull, engineering reported. It's scrubbing the sensors a bit. Is it damaging us? No, ma'am. The station is grounded. The lightning is just feeding our capacitors. Thanks to the free battery charge, I guess? Commander Vance rubbed her temples. This was getting insulting. Okay, she said. They fired first. Rules of engagement are clear. They are hostile. She tapped the comms. This is Hephaestus Prime to the unidentified fleet. That was your warning shot. Now, here's ours. Vance didn't authorize the nukes, or the antimatter beams. That would be a waste of taxpayer money. Target their lead ship, she ordered. Use the cargo railgun. Load a single 10-kilo tungsten slug. Fire. Ethelgard saw a flash of light from the station. He didn't see the projectile. Railguns fire at a fraction of the speed of light. The tungsten slug crossed the distance in a millisecond. There was no time to chant a ward. No time to raise a shield. Physics does not negotiate. Newton's second law, force equals mass x acceleration, arrived at the Sunpiercer. Chapter 3. Sir Isaac Newton is the deadliest son of a bitch in space. The Ilari flagship, Sunpiercer, was protected by the aegis of the seven winds. It was a magical barrier that stopped dragon fire, catapult boulders, and the arrows of 10,000 orcs. But it had never tried to stop a 10-kilogram rod of dense tungsten moving at 0.05% the speed of light. Magic relies on intent. To block an attack, the shield must sense the intent to harm. But a railgun slug has no intent. It has no soul. It has no mana. It is simply a blind, deaf, dumb object carrying an ungodly amount of kinetic energy. When the slug hit the aegis, the shield didn't even flicker. It didn't know it was being attacked until it was already over. Crack! The slug impacted the prow of the wooden ship. Physics took over. The kinetic energy was instantly converted into heat and shock waves. The Sunpiercer didn't just break. It evaporated. The golden wood turned into plasma. The air inside the ship compressed and exploded outward. The masts, made of unbreaking ironwood, shattered into billions of toothpicks. In the blink of an eye, the pride of the Elven fleet was gone, reduced to a cloud of expanding dust and frozen debris. High Admiral Ethelgard survived only because his personal emergency amulet encased him in a stasis bubble. He floated in the void, surrounded by the corpses of his crew and the splinters of his throne. He watched the gray, ugly metal box of the humans. Sorcery. He gasped, his mind unable to comprehend the violence. What dark god do they worship? What spell was that? It had no chant. It had no rune. On the bridge of Hephaestus Prime, Commander Vance took a sip of her coffee. Target destroyed. Tactical reported. Clean hit. No debris larger than a toaster. Good, Vance nodded. Send a follow-up message. That was Sir Isaac Newton. He sends his regards. Surrender or we introduce you Einstein. Chapter 4. Dragons versus Point Defense. You would think they would surrender. But empires built on arrogance don't fold easily. They doubled down. The remaining 20 ships of the Golden Fleet didn't retreat. They formed a circle. The mages began a suicide ritual. They sacrificed their own life force to open a gate to the elemental plane. They are summoning something, Vance noted, watching the energy spikes on the thermal scanners. Big, biological, hot. From the center of the fleet, a creature emerged. It was a star dragon, a construct of pure mana and starlight, translucent, beautiful, and the size of an asteroid. It roared, a psychic scream that gave every human on the station a headache. Behold, Ethelgard's voice projected into their minds. The consumer of worlds. No iron can pierce its hide. No fire can burn it. The dragon flew toward the station, jaws opening to swallow a whole. Commander Vance looked bored. Biological target, she said. He says no iron, no fire? Okay, let's try lasers. Deploy the swarm, she ordered. Hephaestus Prime opened its hangars. 10,000 mining drones poured out. These weren't warriors. They were automated workers equipped with high-intensity mining lasers. Tools designed to slice through asteroids made of solid nickel iron. To the drones, the dragon wasn't a mythical beast. It was just a large, unrefined or deposit. The swarm enveloped the dragon like a cloud of metallic locusts. The dragon breathed magic fire, destroying hundreds of drones. But there were thousands more. They landed on its scales. They clamped down with magnetic grippers. And they started cutting. Zizzity, zizzity, zizzity. 10,000 industrial lasers fired at point-blank range. The impenetrable hide of the dragon held for 3 seconds. Then it boiled. The dragon screamed, not a roar of power, but a shriek of pain. The mining lasers sliced through its magical tendons. They drilled into its glowing heart. They dismantled the mythical beast with the efficiency of a recycling plant. Within a minute, the consumer of worlds was just a dissipating cloud of glowing gas. Resource acquisition complete. The drone AI chirped. No or found. Returning to dock. Chapter 5. The final equation, E equals MC squared. High Admiral Ethelgard floated in his bubble, watching his god die. He was broken. His worldview was shattered. His magic was useless against these mechanics, but the rift was still open. More ships were coming through. Reinforcements. We must close the door, Commander Vance said. If we don't, they'll keep coming like cockroaches. The rift is held open by a massive energy field. Science Officer Chin reported. Conventional explosives won't touch it. We need to disrupt the space-time coordinates. Antimatter? Vance asked. Antimatter. Chin agreed. Humanity harvested antimatter from the magnetic fields of Saturn. It was the most expensive substance in history. A single gram could power a city for a year. Or it could turn a mountain into a crater. The station's main spinal mount aligned with the golden tear in space. Charging particle lance. Vance ordered. Load 5 grams of antihydrogen. Magnetic containment field. Open. Ethelgard saw the station's tip glow with a light that wasn't light. It was a color that hurt his eyes. A whiteness. So pure it looked black at the center. He felt the mana in the sector screaming. The universe itself was recoiling from what was about to happen. Fire. The beam was silent. It crossed the distance instantly. When matter meets antimatter, they annihilate. They cease to exist. converting 100% of their mass into pure energy. The beam hit the rift. It didn't explode. It erased. The golden runes unraveled. The wooden ships caught in the blast radius simply vanished. Deleted from the server of reality, the rift destabilized. The energy release was so intense it momentarily outshone Jupiter. The tear in space screamed, a physical sound of reality snapping back into place, and then imploded. The portal was gone. The fleet was gone. The magic was gone. Only silence remained, and the angry red eye of Jupiter, watching indifferently. They recovered High Admiral Ethelgard. He is currently in a containment facility on Titan. He spends his days staring at a tablet, trying to learn calculus. He is obsessed with understanding the human magic. He calls it math. We studied the wreckage of their ships. We found that their runes were just a different way of manipulating quantum fields. We learned a lot. We incorporated their mana into our batteries. We made our science even stronger. The universe is full of wonders, full of mysteries, full of things that defy explanation. But as Ilari learned the hard way, there is no spell stronger than a railgun, and there is no wizard more powerful than a physicist with a budget. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. If you believe in the supremacy of science, smash that like button. Comment below who would win in a fight, Gandalf or a sniper rifle. Subscribe to the channel. Class dismissed. End the recording.